So you're close to your siblings.
Yes.
How does it affect you then when they get involved, like Janet's Super Bowl flat?
Oh, I can't speak for my sister, but
Just tell me how you responded as a brother and as a viewer.
with love. Actually, I was looking right at it, and I didn't see it. I was at a friend of mine's house in La Jolla, Ron Burkle, and in a movie theater, it was huge on the screen. I didn't even see it. So I heard all this controversy the next day. I said, that's not true. I saw none of it, so.
Do you think the controversy was overblown? And do you
Yes.
think it's a Jackson-related phenomenon, or is it a testament to our time socially in this country?
Well, that's an interesting hypothesis, too. It's both. It's hard to answer, really. I'd rather not answer that one.
Okay. Did you call her and say, don't sweat
said-
the small stuff?
Yeah, something like that. Be strong. This too shall pass. Don't worry about it. You know, I've seen worse things. I said, Janet, I once, you're too young to remember, but I once watched the Oscars with David Niven on it, and a naked man came running across, streaking. Now, he didn't get there on his own. That was organized, but they didn't say much about that. I'll just say that much. That was live around the world.
Let me say,
The next day it was a joke.
It was a joke. I think there is a Jackson component. I think there is.
You can say that.
Okay, I just did.
You can say it.
I did. I
Okay.
think it was exaggerated, and I think that the Jackson connection was part of the reason it was exaggerated.
Thank you, Ron.
So as you go forward in this record, what are we going to expect? I mean, they're going to hear this on the radio, and then people are going to send in their money, and it's going to go to these kids in the Indian Ocean region?
I would like that very much, very much.
Now tell me how that act of largesse, that compassion, will make you feel. How do you, sometimes I think I feel better giving than receiving. I think it really is true.
It is true.
In my life.
Of
But
course it's
explain
true.
the mechanics of that in your own life.
It's just the idea. I don't know if it's the psychology of it or what. I just love working hard on something, putting it together, sweating over it, and then sharing it with people and having them love it. And I always pray that they like it. And that's what gives me great satisfaction as an artist.
Back to Ramon Bain, Michael Jackson's spokesperson here outside the Santa Maria courthouse. Why do you think people are willing to believe the absolute worst about your client?
Well, I can't say that I agree with that, that they believe the absolute worst as a whole. For every one irate email I get, or an email of hatred, I get about 40 or 50 of support. So, I think that it has to do with the fact that there has been so much thrown at us out here that we just have not been able to address because we have been under a very strict gag order.
Example.
Of which we're going to adhere to. For instance, the leaks, the transcripts. I mean, he had to go to court and get a approval from the judge. There have been so many other things. Smokinggun.com, they have so many things per week. We can't address them. So you have all of these stories and they compound daily. And I think people sometimes, I don't say that they want to believe it, but I think they get tired of it and they feel that, okay, if we're hearing it every day, there must be some truth to this. Mm-hmm. And a number of things we have been able to address, all of the various rumors. And I take my hat off to Michael because, goodness, we have had to really deal with quite a few things this past year. But as I said, as we refer in politics, there is a silent majority. And I think that on a whole, his supporters far outweigh those who don't support him. But as I've said, I think that it's just because we have not been able to get ahead of the curve in some of these issues.
Of all of the shots that Michael's taken in recent years, none seems to have affected him as much as the parody by the rapper Eminem. That's coming up. And one note, this entire program will be rebroadcast tomorrow night, Sunday night after the Super Bowl at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll be right back.
Love for a child. I'm sorry. It can't be measured. I love him dearly. I can't even sleep at night thinking about what these wicked people might try to do to him when I know he's in.
Whether it's his old pet monkey or the time his hair caught on fire filming that Pepsi commercial, Michael Jackson's been the brunt of 1 million jokes in 100 languages. But of all of them, none has cut as deeply as the musical parody by the rapper Eminem. Here Michael talks about that, plus the image recently attached to him as a creative has-been. Watch.
Does it frustrate you professionally or personally when people say that this Jackson project flopped or that happened? Your #1 compilation, for instance, 7.5 million copies. Now, I think that's quadruple platinum or whatever it is that you label it, and yet the characterization by some in the music business, at least, is that you're not, well, you know, you're not, that it wasn't a hit. How do you feel about that?
#1, I don't know which project you're talking about, but
the compilation, the last one. It was
compilation is it's a huge success.
7.5 million.
Yes, and that's
But how come that's not the headline? It's a huge success.
Exactly.
Why is the headline?
Because negative news, sensationalism seems to sell more than wonderful, positive news, and people rather hear gossip, I think, sometimes, than the truth. And my last 8 albums have all entered the charts at #1, and so people like to sensationalize things and make up stories and rumors, and sometimes.
Does it hurt your feelings? Do you want to scream out and say, hey, wait a second, check the numbers?
It's a commonology in mankind that I don't like, that part of it, that kind of, you know, envy. But then there's a beautiful side to mankind too, isn't it?
But not to Eminem. We've spoken about it. I think that you should. Why not?
Speak about what?
About Eminem and this disrespect that he showed you.
I'm gonna make you dance, it's your chance. Yeah, boy, shake that thing. Whoops, I mean girl, girl. Girl, you know you're my world. All right, now lose it.
Stevie Wonder said that he was piling on and how really rude it was for someone who made his money from the community, as Eminem has, to now diss the community in a sense, and a racist, and I've said it, very bold-faced, bigoted kind of presentation. Tell us how that hurt you and how you're feeling about it now.
I've never met Mr. Eminem, and to have him, I've always admired him, and to have him do something like that was pretty painful as an artist to another artist. And it's sad because, well, I think what Stevie Wonder said is true. And I just don't want to say too much more than that. But he should be ashamed of himself, what he's doing. Stevie said he's bullshit, is what he said.
Stevie did,
He
and
used the word.
He is bullshit.
That's what he said. I mean, I'm not saying it, but Stevie said it. And Stevie is he's amazing. He's one of the sweetest men in the world, you know.
So when Stevie said that, did you feel a tremendous sense of reassurance of brotherly love there?
Yes, I love Stevie Wonder. To me, he's a musical prophet, and I always love him. But a lot of people respect Stevie, and he's a very strong entity in this medium, in this business. And when he speaks, people listen. And it was wrong of Eminem to do what he did. I've been an artist most of my life doing what I do, and I've never attacked another fellow artist. Great artists don't do that. You know, you don't have to do that.
I mentioned Janet's, you know, fiasco and the exaggerated response to it. Once again, do you think he only did it because he knew he could get away with it because you're Michael Jackson?
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt, really. It's silly. It's kind of elementary, but I hope he's having fun.
It's like a poo-poo joke.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it still hurts your feelings, and you don't want your kids to see it.
Oh, God, I would hate it if they saw it. I would hate that.
Do you want them to know that?
To know about it? No.
Yeah.